So Flash is a two-toed Linnaeus sloth. We have two-toed and three-toed sloths. And although we say two-toed, we're going to more so for the three-fingered and three-fingered and two-fingered sloths because they all have three toes on their back feet. And he has a really good sense of smell, so if you kind of hold that kind of up close to his nose, he may kind of come back down. This morning.
So once you guys go to feed them, you want to make sure that once you put that in your mouth that you just let go, because they have rod monochromacy, so they only see in black and white, and also they just have horrible vision. So he's not trying to bite your finger, he just doesn't know what's up. And if he doesn't like that one, we can always try a different one. Let's see if we can get him started. Here you go. Hey, bud. No, not feeling that one. Let's try a sweet potato. It might take them a minute to get warmed up, so you just go through the whole talk anyway.
Alright, so like I said, he is a two-toed Linnaeus sloth, and of the two-toed variety we have Linnaeus and we have Hoffman. Then we have the three-toed, there's 4 different species there that I can't remember all the names of. But Flash has been here for about 3 years, and he's about 6 years old right now, and he came from a facility before we got him where he was just behind some plexiglass and was just fed his breakfast in a bowl, so he was never hand-fed before. And it took the owner, John, it took him about 2 years of just going in there, spending time with him and slowly getting him used to us before he would actually eat out of our hand. And so it took him a little bit longer to warm up to us than our other 2 sloths did. Our other 2 sloths came from a breeder that has been doing it for over 30 years. Has had over 30 years of experience and doing research and everything like that on the sloths. And so they clicker train their babies to like being held by people. And obviously Flash did not have that experience. Do you think you can come get some bye-byes? So we don't hold Flash, but Zoe and Dash, we hold them.
And so could you pat him?
Yeah, just use the back of your hand, just kind of slow down his back. And he's a lot softer than people think. In the rainforest, you see pictures of them having moss and algae and things like that that's growing on their back. They actually have an entire ecosystem that lives on their back like that. But thankfully we don't have that here. And they also have moths that live on them in the wild that they have a symbiotic relationship with, meaning that they both benefit. So the sloths benefit from the moths that live on their back by, when they turn around and groom themselves, they lick up a portion of the moths and the moths waste, and that helps to provide them some good microbiome, some good probiotics and things like that for their gut to help digest their food. And then it helps the moths because once a week when the sloth comes down out of the trees to the bottom of the tree and does a little potty dance and goes to the bathroom, the moths that are living in his fur will come down and lay their larvae in the waste of the sloth. And they'll catch their ride going back up into the canopy, and a week later, when they come back down on the same side of this tree, the same tree, they go to the same pile, and the larvae that have grown up into adult moths will crawl back up onto the sloth and catch her right back up. So it's pretty cool how the cycle goes around. And so obviously we don't have the moths here, so the thing that we have to really make sure that stays stable is the temperature. They can't regulate their own body temperature, and so we have to make sure that you can kind of feel it's pretty warm in here and it stays 78 degrees in here year round. So for them, their sweet spot is about 78 to 85 degrees, and if it drops much below that, it can actually cause them to get rid of all of their good microbiome, similar to like what we would be like if we took a good round of antibiotics and didn't have any Greek yogurt or anything like that afterwards. And but for them it's a lot more detrimental, so they really can't digest their food if it drops much below that. And so a sloth can actually pass away with a full belly. So it takes a lot of work and everything to maintain, just right. What do you think, Flash?
What you thinking? No snacks? No snacks?
Oh, buddy.
Why? Sweet potato, is that it?
Oh,
Not interested.
well, he's still thinking about it, because usually he, if he doesn't want anything to eat, he'll go to the end of the branch over there.
I'm just thinking, this is so cool. For like the past 10 years, my entire family's associated me with sloths.
Yeah.
Give sloth everything, not by choice. Because back when I started really getting into exercise, I was like walking like a lot. And I told my mom, I'm like, look, I'm back to pedometer and burned 100 calories a day. And she starts laughing because she's like, that's almost as much as a sloth burns in a day.
Yes. Everything is very slow with them, even the burning of calories, because obviously they don't do a whole lot. And so the two-toed sloths, they're kind of built like a truck, if you think about it, compared to the three-toed sloths. They're a lot bigger, and they have a total of 46 ribs. That helps them to, once they take a tumble out of the trees, they can actually survive up to 100 feet, falling from 100 feet, because the 46 ribs that they have are all connected by connective tissue to their intestines. And so if you think about, getting into a car wreck or something like that, or if we were to fall from 100 feet, the jar would really be, everything inside of us moving around. And so for them, that's not really an issue, because everything is so well connected and just braced. And the two-toed sloths, they actually have the ability to turn.
He's thinking about
There you go.
so cute. We're like okay to take photos of
that's
all
fine.
I like green beans too. Oh my gosh, that sounds so cute. What if I like you next to it? I think you do, but yeah, you'll do the same.
If we can get him to extend a little bit, sometimes we can get him to come down to where he'll take pictures right next to us.
Oh yeah.
He might take another green bean if you lure him down.
Maybe. Hey buddy. He seemed to like that one. Unfortunately, very short.
But the two-toed sloths, they actually have the ability to turn 180 degrees at their hips, whereas the three-toed sloths, they can turn 180 degrees at their necks, kind of like an owl. They can't go all the way around, but they can turn pretty far with their necks because they have extra vertebrae in their neck. But the two-toed sloths, they don't, and they kind of make up for that in the amount of ribs that they have.
So I just have a camera right here, he's looking right at you. Oh. That is so gnarly. Okay, I'll get your number and I'll send you one I just got because I only get one. That train's need to come down to these. Down. Maybe you want another green beans?
I think Flash. Takes so sloths in the wild, think about it, they actually fall out of the trees from the canopy of the rainforest about once a week. Whether that be, trying to get away from something that's after them, or just miscalculating the grabbing of the branch that they're trying to grab onto. A lot of times they'll reach out, grab the branch, and grab their own leg, and then they'll go tumbling down. Because like we said, they have rod monochromacy, so they can't really see that well. And you can see how dilated their eyes are, and it's almost like looking through both of your hands, just like this. And so they have a very, very narrow field of vision. And so that obviously leads to some difficulties when you're trying to navigate the room.
I can see very low and I fall off. I get it, buddy. Yeah, they're just like I said, they're always smiling. That's what it looks like. Oh, it's just happy.
They're not quite as smiley as the ones that you think of that are the three-toed sloths. They have like the bands that they have around their eyes, and then their faces are just a little bit more smushed than the two-toed. But those, just the markings just makes them look just like they're smiling all the time.
It's dark.
I was surprised when we came in because it's right there.
And I was like, oh, hello, everybody.
We didn't used to have this branch that we have here now. We used to do all of our encounters inside of his room. But every morning around 10 o'clock, he started to develop his routine where he'd want to come down and interact and everything. And he would start hooking onto the wood pieces that are above the door frame and stuff right there, and acting like he's wanting to come out. And so we eventually put up that little branch there, and we're hoping to kind of make a complete circle with it and go around the rest of the
You
room.
had the sweet touch of the
Flash. And so a lot of people wonder how they're able to just hang like that for such long periods of time and not get tired. And it's because that for us, if you think about this is our stress state, it takes energy for us to do this, and this is our relaxed state. But for them, this is their relaxed state, and to actually extend to that is their stress state. And so hanging on just like that is just natural for them. And it's because the tendons that are in their forearms and their legs are so tight that it just naturally curls up for hands like that. And you have to actually think about opening up and extending their hand.
Flexible.
Yeah. We've got Flash, and our baby's Dash, and we've got Zoe, and the next one that we get, we're gonna name Chloe.
Is he eating some snacks yet?
He had
He
one.
took
He's picky sometimes.
Just like trying to convince me to eat breakfast in the morning.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, I know I should eat, but I just can't. Yeah. I'm gonna bring me the daddy over.
He's big Flash.
You doing okay, bud? You doing okay, bud? Frosted tips. It's trending.
It seems to get lighter like that as they get older as well. When they're real young, it's a lot darker, kind of like how it is up around his head. They're about like that all over, and then once their baby hairs start to grow out into adult hairs, they start to get lighter like that.
Gorgeous.
Stay just as soft.
Gorgeous.
Where'd you guys say you're from?
I'm from Chattanooga.
Okay, not too far.
And I'm from Greenville, South Carolina.
How long of a drive is that?
Just under 3 hours.
Not too
Not too bad. Yeah, well, we're celebrating my son's 4-year birthday here. We're staying in a wagon.
Oh, yeah. You like
And my birthday was last month, and my husband surprised me when we go next month, you get to be with Sloth.
Yes.
And I was like,
It's my 21st birthday.
I don't know, what a gift, right?
You can pull out Bacher and talk about him if you want.
Is he in?
He was, unless John moved him.
is actually distantly related to sloths. Both sloths are armadillos and are anteaters, giant anteaters are all related. They're part of the Zithauran superorder. And yes, they love to dig around ankles as well.
Can I catch it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so they're actually mammals. The hair that you see that's underneath this carapace and kind of on top of it as well. He eats mostly bugs, and so when he's looking around all over the floor and kind of digging in our socks and stuff, he's hoping to find a little bug or something.
Oh, I hope you do, buddy.
And so I say they're kind of related because the three-banded armadillo and the sloths and the anteater all have the ability to curl up into a ball, believe it or not. Obviously, that's pretty obvious for our armadillos, but our sloths and anteaters can do that as well.
Hello. You find a warm spot down there?
Our three-banded armadillo friend here is from Brazil, and the ones that we have around here are the nine-banded armadillos.
You find another good spot down there?
And you can kind of see his little front legs there, his little talons that kind of come off of his legs are pretty similar to the fingers of our sloths.
Where are you headed? Is it trying to get into my bowl right here? Hi.
He likes to dig, that's for sure. You're not gonna go behind the fridge. And so they can actually ball all the way up to where this is their head plate and this is their tail. And a lot of times what they like to do is, a predator or something will come along and they'll be halfway open and the predator will, try to get in there and then they'll clamp closed on whatever the predator's tongue or paw or whatever it is. And they'll snap closed pretty hard. A few people have, unfortunately, had that happen to them. And so we have to be real careful about when we pick them up, just to be avoiding of that. But you can smell them. We just keep him on his back like that and he'll stay curled up. But if he starts to turn over, then he'll want to open up.
Oh my gosh, George, what you doing? You
So see his little talons there.
Oh, he's so warm. Fine.
He's not starting to get a little bit too active here on us. What do you think, bud?
Too like having.
Put him down, he runs around like a little russet potato on high heels.
It's cute, yeah, it's little clickety click clicks, they're really cute. Oh my god, you're precious. Oh, this little titty tat dancer, you're a little tiny dancer.
And so they almost always have identical twins, and the ones that we see on the sides of the roads and things like that,
Where'd you go?
nine-banded armadillos almost always have identical quadruplets. And it's actually very rare for them to have females in the litter. And so most of the time they'll have identical twin
It's a better
males.
spot, there we go. Now we can see. Just a little too tall. You are welcome to do all the digging you need to do, buddy. You looking for
Still
stuff?
have around his ankles.
He loves to smell tennis shoes.
Get after it, bud. Oh my gosh, you are so cute. Oh, the little tippy taps.
Yes.
You can get my shoe. You think you can fit?
There's any bugs in here.
I know.
There's plenty
There's a
outside.
fly down there.
If only he had a big old long tongue like an armadillo, let's just get him across the room. We would not have as many flies in here.
Oh my god, you are precious. Yeah, he was like,
Skedaddle, that's for sure.
this is so cute.
And sometimes he'll wiggle himself underneath there and he's like, oh my gosh, this was a bad decision.
Oh, shit.
He's going down. Come see us.
This little buddy.
Like now I'm being like extra careful because I'm like putting all this
I
stuff
want
on.
to squeeze it.
Yeah.
I don't want to try and get in your side.
I'm scratching at my egg, Mama.
Any buggies down in there?
My egg's in my
Yeah, find a good spot. Yeah, that's the top of it. Oh, God. You're so cute. Hey, did you like going there? Did you like going there? Hey, did you like that?
This is tiny little eyes.
Did you like it? It's pretty big, it's pretty big. I love it. I like green leaves.
You can get all the way up next close to him, he won't bite, I promise.
It's beautiful brown.
And their eyes stay pretty much dilated like that all the time,
Notice that look.
even in the dark. They actually, on top of having very poor eyesight all the time, have what's called bright blindness. So in the bright daylight like this, it's even harder for them to see. And if you think about, naturally in the wild, they have the protection of the canopy of the rainforest, and so it stays a lot dimmer in the wild than it does obviously in places like this where we have a LED light right above us.
I'm just like amazed.
But what he lacks in vision, he definitely makes up for in sense of hearing and sense of smell. And so he can pretty much tell who we are just by hearing us come into the room and everything, come in and talk to him. And he starts to differentiate between all of us. Wonder if instead of giving him like a whole little slice of banana, we took a green bean or two or something and just like smashed the end of it.
He licks it all off.
Does he?
I tried it. I
Oh
was
my
like, I
gosh.
just put it all over it, and he
That's
just sat there and
hilarious.
licked it and spit the green bean
Oh
out.
my gosh.
He was like, no, I want this.
That's ridiculous.
So at 10:30, who was booked under Matthew again?
I am.
Okay, sorry. And whenever it's written like that, I'm like, I know you're not Matthew. But so at 10:30, then you will come in with Zoe, and then the next 10:30 people will start. I'm gonna go look for them, but you guys have until I find them. So you got a while.
And Flash doesn't really like us to mess with it, but they have little ears about the same size of ours relative to their bodies. And they just are covered up with a lot of the hair. A lot of people think that they have ears kind of like chickens. Oh my goodness, yeah. He does that
He
trick
loves
where
you.
he'll roll over and say, oh my gosh, I'm stuck, and then pop back up and say, just kidding.
He absolutely
Oh,
loves
you're
you.
making a hug. You're making me want to have one of these. It's so sweet. So sweet. Like, sit on the show here. Look at you.
So we got BakaCon, and we're hoping that the next, if we can get our hands on a female, we're naming her Shaka Khan.
playful little buddies. So sweet.
We used to have like a bunch of people come up to our elementary school and like show off all the animals we had.
And Armadillo, and then I remember very clearly was a hissing collar.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, those are definitely something.
You are busy, buddy.
I guess the only time I was able to convince myself to willingly touch a bug.
I don't think I could have done it.
So is this little buddy just like legitimately playful, or is there?
Yeah, he just gets bored and likes to
Okay.
do things.
This looks like play, but it isn't.
Yeah, he just.
That is so precious.
Do you don't want to just like crowd your face if you don't want to? I have this mornings too. It's horrible cooking this week. No. So we need to leave like 8:30. And now we're left to sleep. So it's like you can't wear any cushions or anything.
He always has that one, he picks one person and he will just go at their ankles.
Yeah,
He always
good
does
with it.
that.
It's a good scratch.
He's trying to work his way into the nail salon, starting his training early.
Good curves.
Yeah.
Good eggs.
But he's just like. Okay, so let me listen to your phone number because I have a bunch on my phone just out of ease.
Whoever was waiting in the car for you, I told them, I was like, we're live, and so they're watching now, so they're excited, yeah.
I should have told you. He's so cute. I was gonna get some BakaCon experience. I was like, oh, no. No, please.
Did you get enough pictures? Okay, cool. She's like, yep, okay.
I have a bunch on my phone to send to you too.
Trading.
All right, the next two people are right out here,
Okay.
so I'll go ahead and take her in there with Zoe, because I already have a pot in there. These can just stay running where they are.
Okay.
I already told them to disinfect their hands and use the restroom. It's a guy and a girl. It's under, the name is under Dusty,
Okay.
but they should be right here. Ma'am, if you want, there is another hand disinfectant right out here for you. And if you had a great time, there's a review tag hanging right off the side. If you didn't have a good time, then don't leave a review.
I'm just gonna get her phone number really quick.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it is for sure.
Yep.
Okay. What's your number? 423-394. So I'm just gonna call you and then we'll have lunch. I like to add it here.
I like it. Everybody working together to get the selfies. Next time you come back, do the farm tour. It is awesome. Like, everybody loves it. We put a 90-year-old grandma on the camel, and she giggled the entire
Oh,
way.
I missed her riding it because my little one was ready to go.
Oh yeah, that's common. All right, we can go ahead and come in here. Ma'am, you have a great day. Thanks for coming. You good, Michaela?
Yeah.
Guys, look at that armadillo.
That's Bakakon.
Oh my goodness.
And this is Flash.
Hi, Flash.
So we're gonna feed Flash the rest of his breakfast this morning. Hopefully he'll eat a little bit more for us. She got some kick out of either one of these bowls. Usually he likes green beans, but he's being a little bit picky this morning, so we can do either one. And when we go to feed him, he doesn't have very good eyesight, so we just wanna put the end of it just to his nose, figure out if he wants to eat it or not. Yeah, he likes to dig around in people's socks. Then we feed him like a little reverse Pez dispenser. And then we'll let go of it since once he gets some of it in his mouth, and he'll just finish munching on the rest of it. If he gets to being annoying, I can put him up.
No, he's fine.
He will probably like your ankles. He likes to have socks poking out of the ankles and he starts to dig all in them. And believe it or not, these two are actually distantly related. They're part of the Zithoran superclass, which means that they have the ability to curl up into a ball. And so obviously that's pretty obvious for him, but the sloths have the ability as well. And so he is a 3-banded armadillo from Brazil. And the ones that we have here are 9-banded armadillos. And you hear the rumor about armadillos carrying leprosy and things like that. And that's mostly just the ones around here, unfortunately. But Brazil, they don't really struggle with that as much. And he is actually a mammal. So you see all the hair and everything on his undercoat. This is his head plate and this is his tail. So he curls all the way up and you can kind of see his bands there.
It's insane. Is it? I mean, almost exactly.
Yes. And you can kind of see the little hairs that stick out on them too. You guys are open to touch them if you want it.
Hi, Karen.
And part of his defense mechanism is when something is, trying to get a hold of him, he'll leave just a little bit open, and when something sticks their little paw in there, he'll clamp closed, and it does not feel very good. But you can kind of see his little front feet there are really similar to what Flash's are.
That's
And
so
so
cool.
Flash is a 2-toed Linnaeus sloth, and we have 2 toads and 3 toads. And the 3 toads, usually those you see a lot more out in the wild. We don't really have as many of those in captivity because their diet is a lot more sensitive than our 2-toed friends. So they really only can eat the leaves of the sarcopia trees that grow in places like Brazil and Costa Rica and things like that.
You want a carrot?
Hey, buddy.
Go ahead. And it takes him quite a while to make whether or not he wants it. He's a goofball. He definitely keeps people entertained.
What are you doing?
And he loves to do this thing where he'll roll over onto his side and be like, oh my gosh, I'm dead. And
Oh
then when you start to feel bad for him, he'll just poke back up and
Oh
start
my
running around. So he looks like a little russet potato running around on high heels. Oh. Yeah, and then he loves to try to climb the fridge. He has to be the center of attention.
Oh my goodness. Don't pay attention to this sloth. I'm right here.
Yeah, he can be a pain sometimes. Alright. So this is Bakakon, and we're hoping that when we get a female, we're naming her Shaka Khan.
What are you doing?
Flash.
You all full for the day?
They definitely don't have a problem with turning away food, so a lot of, my problem is that I'll eat, even if I'm full, but they will eat ravishly as long as they're hungry, but then as soon as they get their belly full, they don't have an issue turning away food, so sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to keep them eating for us.
I'm gonna get Zoe some snacks. Have a nice obstacle course set up though. There's not much of that.
No.
And so you think about the pictures that you see in the wild of the ones in the rainforest and things, you see moss and algae and stuff like that growing on their back. Luckily, we don't have that here, but if you look at a sloth's hair under the microscope, it actually has a lot of cracks and crevices and things like that in it that allows for the moss and algae to grow. And obviously, when you hang out in somewhere that rains, the 90% of the time that tends to be something that grows on them. And in the wild, that's something that they really depend on, because there's a sloth moth that actually will live on top of the sloth in the wild. And when they turn around and groom themselves, they lick up a portion of the sloths that are on them, or the moths that are on them, and it actually serves to provide some good healthy gut biome. So it's similar to, like, you know, if we were to take a round of antibiotics and lose a healthy gut biome like that, is what they would be like if they did not have any moths on them. And so obviously here we don't have any moths on them, and we have to rely on the temperature staying really steady. And so you can tell it's kind of warm in here, and it stays like that year round, because for them, their ideal temperature is about 78 to 85 degrees. And so if it drops much below that, you know, at nighttime or something like that, if we were to leave a door open and it gets pretty cold in here, then we could come into not a live sloth. And so they have really delicate.
So do you guys do like checks before you leave?
Yes, yeah. And sometimes Kevin even gets so paranoid he'll check the cameras even though he knows to close the door. But yeah.
We do the same thing with our dog.
Yeah.
Whenever we leave the house, she's always fine. But
Yeah.
we're like, oh.
Luckily, we can keep it at a regular temperature.
Yes. Yes, and so that's what a lot of people, you know, you go on a cruise ship and you get off somewhere and they have a little roadside petting zoo set up where they have a sloth there. And that's just been a sloth that, you know, they've taken off the mother of a sloth in the wild, or, you know, that's ideally what they're looking for, is a baby that they've taken off the mother's back. But, you know, any sloth will do if they can get one that, you know, will tolerate being touched, and they'll just, that's how they make a quick buck around there. But these sloths have been generations and generations and generations removed from the wild. So the guy that we actually got, not Flash, but Zoe and Dash, our other two babies, we got them from a breeder that has been doing it for over 30 years. And he's actually a doctor of veterinary medicine. And so he's been doing, you know, research and studying and everything for a really long time to figure out how these guys actually work and what works and what doesn't. And so a lot of people have a misconception that they just think sloths are cool and they want to go and get one.
Correct.
But no reputable breeder is going to sell one of their babies to somebody, just the general public.
How do they start? Like start up, like you said, that guy
Yeah.
was doing
So his sloth Zero was actually an injured sloth from the wild that could not be returned to the wild.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he can be off. He can be off.
Just a little.
I think, bud. Say something again. Oh, there we go. There you go. And so I said they have really poor eyesight, and with that they have what's called rod monochromacy. And so that means that they don't only have rod cells, they don't have any cone cells in their eyes. And the cone cells are what's responsible for seeing color. And so they really only see shapes. That would be a good picture up there. You're starting to lower down.
There you go, but you like the green beans?
There we go. But
That's incredible.
That's so cool.
And so they can't really see the difference between me or you guys. They can really only hear the difference. And so once they start to hear somebody's voice and start to memorize what it sounds like, then they can recognize who's who.
I'm getting more. You have the carrot?
Why do they
No,
have
you
such
don't
bad
have the
eyesight?
carrots?
That's just how they've been made. You know, you can see that they're so
Yeah.
dilated like that, and so really they only see, like, if you were to put your hands up like that and look through your eyes, that's kind of like how they would see. So they have a really narrow field of vision. And so for them in the wild, anything that's coming towards them is bad news for a sloth. And so their defense mechanism most of the time is just to get to the end of the branch, get to the end of the branch. And with that, you know, it's calculated that a sloth falls out of the tree about once a week, whether that be to something chasing after him or just a miscalculation of grabbing a branch. You know, a lot of times they'll be reaching out for a branch and grab their own leg and then they go hunt one down. But sloths can actually withstand a fall from up to 100 feet because they're built like trucks. They have, our two-toed sloths have 46 ribs, And with all of those ribs, they're interconnected with their intestines through connective tissue. And so you think about if you get into a car wreck or something like that, or fall 100 feet, really what's gonna get you is your brain moving around and your intestines and everything, the jar from that. But they really don't have to worry about that because it's so interconnected. He does not like that I put the dustpan in his way. He says, well, maybe I'm a little hungry.
Carrots?
No, he doesn't like carrots.
You full? He has the life. You think about, getting your dinner just handed to you. You don't
I
have that bite.
know.
You can just
Yes.
say, not that bite. No, not that bite. Okay,
Can I
maybe
just
this
like go
bite.
back to sleep?
Yeah.
Tended away things.
He's so cute, little
I know. I went to the, yeah.
We need to have like a little gate or something.
Yeah.
There. And he tends to get so mad if he'll start trying to get back there and I'll keep blocking him. He gets so mad. And he doesn't like my shoes either because he can't get into
Right,
anything. There's no laces or anything for him to look underneath.
Oh, you really like my shoes.
He loves exposed ankles. His day job right now is just being cute, but he's trying to get into the nail salon. Yes. Yeah.
But he doesn't
Look
like
into his little
carrots.
ears.
I know, it's so weird. I guess. That was the same way.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
You know, he found his appetite.
I know.
Just
Yeah.
waiting.
You wanna try? I know he like stares at me. Wanna try a carrot?
Put that mess in
Don't
front
like
of
the
me.
I'm too hot with the carrots. No. Look at him go. He's
Absolutely running.
So much exercise you got on.
Oh, yeah.
Has to work off all those calories.
Yeah. You guys can move down there with him too. He's not running from you. He just likes that spot. Sometimes we have that window open. He likes to look out.
Oh.
So Baku's breeder actually told us that they can get to be up to soccer ball size and run up to 35 miles an hour.
Whoa.
But he's about a year old, and so I'll believe it when I see it.
How old, like how
A
long,
year. He's about a year old.
how long do they, like, how old are they generally?
Their lifespan, I'm not
Yeah.
sure what their
That's what
lifespan
I'm-
is. Jeez. I'll have to look that one up. I'm training to be the sloth keeper, and so I'm still learning about all the other animals right now.
How long have you been here?
This is like my 5th day.
No
wow.
kidding.
Yes.
Wow.
And so I've known about this place for a long time. because I ride with the large animal vet that comes down here and sees all the animals, and I'm wanting to get into vet school, and so I've known about this place for about 3 years and been down here a lot, and know the people and the animals and stuff, but, started working here last week.
Wow.
Insane.
Yeah. And they, we live stream a lot of our encounters and stuff, and so I just watched a lot of those videos and just trying to, learn all the information I can about them.
Seems like a really cool place.
Yeah, I like it. I'm hoping that this experience will help me, with my vet school application, put it on there that I've worked with exotics and things like that.
Absolutely.
So, I applied last year and got an interview, but didn't get in, so.
Where are you trying?
I'm wanting to get into UT, that's where I did my undergrad, but, I'll probably apply to out of state this time just to cover all my bases, cause it's like, if I don't get in this time, I'm 2 years setback.
Yeah.
That's cool stuff.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
Oh,
I'm
buddy.
sorry.
Were you half asleep?
I didn't mean to scare you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
He's
You're
not
like,
half
no. I am not hungry right now.
He said, I'm half asleep.
Very grumpy.
He was not happy. And so Flash actually came from a different place than our other two sloths came from. He actually came from a facility where he was just behind the glass all the time, never encountered with, never interacted with or anything like that, and just got his food in a dish. And so for the first 2 years that we had him, he didn't want anything to do with us. He was perfectly fine, just chilling out up in the top of his enclosure. But after about 2 years of the owner kind of working with him, trying to slowly, hand feed him, see if he would take things like that from him, then he started to, take things by hands a lot more. Buddy?
So how long has he been here?
He's been here for about 3 years, and he's about 6 years old. And so in the wild, there's actually not been any scientists that have tracked a sloth from birth to natural death. But in captivity, the oldest one that we know of was in Germany, and his name was Jan, and he just passed away this last August. He was 54 years old. So obviously that's decreased by quite a bit in the wild, and we expect between 25 and 30 years in the wild.
54 is almost nice.
Yeah.
Do they have any natural predators in the wild?
Yes, so the harpy eagle is probably their number one.
Really?
Yes, because, they're quite well camouflaged from the bottom of the rainforest looking up. They're just a big old ball of moss.
Yeah.
But from, being up at the top, they have a lot more eagles that try to come after them. And the eagles are a lot more successful because they don't rely on, having to go out on the limb after them. They can just kind of spot them. If they spot them, then they'll come down and get them. But other things, things like tigers and stuff like that, lions and things, that try to, climb up and get them, those, don't have as much luck because, if the sloth spots them, it's get to the end of the branch, and once they get to the end of the branch and fall, the sloth can fall from 100 feet and make it, and then whatever's after them can't.
Yeah.
And so, but it's pretty difficult for snakes and things like that to spot them because snakes hunt by temperature and things like that, and their temperature stays the same as the outside air because they can't regulate it on their own, so the snakes can't really spot them like that.
It's incredible.
Where'd you guys say you're from?
Raleigh, North Carolina.
How far is that?
Not like, yeah.
Yeah. A little bit. hear about us.
I think it actually came on like your Instagram or something.
No, I looked it up. She's really into sloths. So
Mhm.
I wanted to give her something like this and give
Yeah.
her the closest place.
Yeah.
It's incredible. All these exotic animals.
Yes,
Yeah, this
yeah.
is amazing.
Do you have anything else booked for the day?
We're actually going to the ACDC concert.
Oh, wow.
Is that in Chattanooga?
That's in Nashville.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was supposed to be yesterday, but so we're kind of getting best of both worlds. You know,
Yeah.
she gets the
Yeah.
sloths and gets the ACDC.
Yeah.
A lot different pace.
Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely.
That's why I was laughing. I was like, that's ironic.
Yeah.
I always try to play Bob Marley for him in the morning, but maybe I'll try to see.
Maybe it'll get them
Yeah.
hyped up, you know.
So we'll switch in 5 minutes, and I'll just open the door, and we can do Zoe out here. You just keep hanging out.
The minute that I moved.
He saw his opportunity.
I don't know what I think it's the broom. He likes the
Yeah.
bottom of the broom. He thinks that there's gonna be something in there. And so he has a little bug box in there, and his usual enclosure is in there with Zoe on the floor. But he absolutely loves different sorts of things to try to dig in.
Is that, do they really like to dig? Is that what it
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and he's got shavings and stuff in there that he'll burrow himself in, and we're like, where's Baku? Check the corner.
is?
They can definitely get after it though.
Good scratches.
Yeah. Do you guys get a lot of encounters?
Yes, we usually stay pretty booked, especially in the summertime. But for each of our slots, they get no more than 2 hours each day having to interact with people. And I say having to interact with people, but Zoe and our baby Dash, they actually love it. I mean, that's what they're I say trained, but it's like,
Yeah.
it's really not something that they feel like, oh my gosh, I have to go snuggle somebody now.
Yeah.
They really do enjoy to do. And the breeder that I was talking about that clicker trains his babies, they actually have to pass this final ambassador test to be able to come to places like this. And for that final ambassador test, they actually has to prove that they actually enjoy interacting with people and being held by people. And so, in the morning times, we start our encounters with Flash around 10 o'clock because that's the time that he decided that he wants to start interacting with people. It just started becoming, his regular routine. He came down around 10 o'clock every day and started getting his middle munchies. And so that's just what time we started to schedule his encounters. And it's the same way with Zoe. I mean, shortly after we'd feed him, we'd feed Zoe.
Yeah.
And so Zoe just
Get
knows
used to
that,
it, yeah.
around 10:30 is when she's gonna get her snuggles. And she would much rather be on someone than in her little hammock. We almost named her Oof when she was a baby because every time we put her down, she'd go Oof. And she still makes that little noise sometimes when we put her in her hammock. If we don't get out of the room right away, she'll start to go climb after you. And she'll be making those little noises.
So what do they do if they don't pass their,
The ambassador test.
the ambassador?
Then they'll most likely go to somewhere like where we got Flash from, just somewhere that they're not gonna be, interacted with as much
That makes
or
sense.
something like that. Whereas here, we more so want to, educate people on the issue that they're fighting in like places like Costa Rica and things like that, where the natives are bringing the sloths from their natural habitat out to just make a quick buck and stuff
Yeah.
like that, which is really detrimental to them. Especially, you think about taking the baby off of the sloth's back,
Yeah.
they actually have no chance after that. And even the adults, it stresses them out so much to the point where, their chances of survival afterwards is really low.
Do they mate often?
I'm not sure how often their heat cycle is, but once they go into a heat cycle, the females will let out this really loud scream, and the males in the area will hear that and start to make their way over to the tree that she's in, And then after they mate, the male doesn't stick around very long, he'll go off. And so, you know, you think about places or animals that they have a name for a group, like a flock or a herd or things like that. There's no name for that for sloths because they don't hang out, you don't ever see them. And so the babies, even the babies, they don't spend that much time with the mother. It's only just a few months before they're weaned. And it's not always that the mother will leave the baby. Sometimes the baby will leave the mother just because they don't feel like they're willing to hang out. But the gestation of the two-toed sloth is about 11 months, so it takes a while to grow up.
His back is so
Yeah.
They can actually get even more sloped than that. You know how I said that they're related?
Yeah.
He can fold it almost all the way.
He's going to your shoes.
Yeah, he's good.
Has he? To like hang.
All the time.
Yeah.
It would definitely be a difficult task for us to
All the ab muscles you'd have to
Yes,
do.
yeah. And if you think about, you know, that challenge where you have to hang for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or something. For us, that takes a lot of work because this is our stress state.
Yeah.
But for them, this is their relaxed state,
Mhm.
and it's actually their stress state to have to open up their hands. Because all of the tendons and things like that are in their forearms and their legs are so tight that it just naturally curls in. Yeah. And with Zoe, you'll have to get to hold her in a minute, and she, you know, she'll hang around your neck, and if she starts to get too tight around your shoulders, all you have to do is tap her little hands, and she'll be like, oh yeah. She'll loosen up. Sometimes she forgets.
Merry Christmas.
Amazing, Zoe. I'm gonna have to get you in there.
I'll walk over here with you.
And so this is Zoe. She's about 16 months old, and she's really particular about the way that she likes to be pet. So she
Alright,
likes
so
slow,
we always
long strokes all the way down her back like this. But if she starts to get squirrely and like hanging over, which she does sometimes, and you start to get close to her sides, she doesn't like it. She's not gonna bite you or anything, but she'll start pawing at you with her hands and everything. And so just nice slow strokes just like this is what she likes. Do we
Okay.
know who's gonna be going first?
Yeah.
Alright, you just wanna take a seat in that chair. It just takes her a minute, but she will figure out that you are who she's going to, and she will start to put her arms around you. So we'll say, night night, night night. And like I said, if her arms start to get too taut around your shoulders, all you have to do is tap, and she will loosen up.
Hi, Zoe.
And she tends to. Are you hungry? She says, oh yeah, that's what I want. She's like, oh, that more. Yeah. Break out the spinach, she'd probably change her mind. Usually when we break out spinach, she's like, oh, well, that's all you got. Go to sleep.
What do they eat in the wild?
In the wild, they eat the leaves of the sarcopia trees. So those are the trees that you kind of see, you know, on the paintings on the wall and everything, what you think about in the rainforest. Girl, you gonna be a diva this morning? You already probably got a lot of spots in there.
She did. She did a ton. She finally went to sleep for like the last 10 minutes, but other than that, she ate the
She says,
whole.
I am awakened. And so, like I said, she's about 16 months old, and she almost weighs as much as Flash. So she will probably get even bigger than Flash is. She says, "Do you have my food?"
I'm not coming back here.
Says, "Yes, I am. Yes, I am." I feel like he's slowly becoming one of my favorites. Just because his personality is just so big. And another weird thing about her too is she doesn't like the scritches. So you think about cats kind of like that, but she doesn't like being
Like
scratched like that. Yeah, just slow strokes down her back. She is very particular. She was our first baby. And so, you know, with any first child, you're real sensitive about what you want to do with them, what you feed them, how you take care of them. And so we did not desensitize her as much as we should have, which is why she's so sensitive to her sides and things like that being touched.
Oh, okay.
And so our new baby, Dash, we are definitely trying to make sure that he stays to where he is fine with being touched in different ways. You decide you're gonna come back out? Yeah, it is. Might be able to get her to get Flash to kind of come down a little bit too. Here, with the wolf looking out.
Oh.
Here too is a good for this.
Oh, got it.
See, it'll show us how he can rotate his hips.
Oh my god.
And he can go even further, but he's like,
Not feeling it.
in the morning when Kevin's in here feeding Zoe her breakfast, he'll come out and he will comb Kevin's hair. He'll be reaching down trying to get what Zoe's eating. Yeah. You're so hungry now. You change your mind? She says, hey, what about me?
Okay, that's mine.
There's plenty to go around. You guys are spoiled. Spoiled rotten. I think.
Do you guys ever do dentals on them?
Not that I know of. I'm sure that it's probably a thing, but I'm sure that it's not really a routine thing that they do, just because they're probably so delicate with anesthesia and things like that.
Yeah.
I think you just got jealous, is what it is. We brought Zoe out, and you just wanted to come out here and get fed as well. me earlier was the first time that he actually was able to get up underneath my pant leg and get to my ankles. This is what people are feeling. I have no idea. You're not to squeeze your chin. Yeah, that's what it is. You just got jealous.
Yeah, I was trying to offer you the carrots, bud.
No,
No.
still not. That's where it's at. I'm telling you, I mean, if we were started like that, we wouldn't know what to do.
I know.
Jeez, buddy, I'm gonna have to cut up some more of these. Let me have your phone, I'll take a picture of you feeding both of them while, because that's funny. That two-handed. Yeah, finish that fast, Zoe. Those are good.
Oh, those are-
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so you can tell too that Flash is a lot thinner than what Zoe looks like right now, because he just went to the bathroom recently. And when they go to the bathroom, they expel about 30% of their body weight.
Wow.
Yes. And so Zoe, since she's starting to plump up, I think it's been a few days since she's went, but since she starts to plump up, they get, gain weight, and then they'll expel about 30% of it. And that's between solid and liquid.
Wow.
So they hold it the whole time. They don't pee or anything like that up in the trees. And scientists speculate, many different reasons why that is. Some of them say that it's because, they're wanting to fertilize their tree, and so they'll go at the base of their tree. But, if that were the case, they'd still be in the tree, and, if they were to poop while they're up in the tree, it's still gonna fertilize the bottom of the tree. And some scientists say that it's just because they're creatures of habit, which, could be, but they don't really have habits in anything else. And then the real reason, or why we think that they come down to the bottom of the tree to use the bathroom, is because of the sloth moth symbiotic relationship that we were talking about earlier.
Oh. Still nothing?
Promise
Is
it's-
it true, like, with the moths and everything, like, they have, like, basically, like, an ecosystem
Yes,
on their stuff?
yes.
What are you doing?
Are you jealous?
So-
All you were missing in that picture was Baku.
Yeah.
I need to hold him up with the third hand. I think he gets picky about the skin being on this as well. I think. Yeah.
You still hungry?
So Do they usually stick to one tree?
Yes, yes, they're very much so creatures of habit in that way. And so they will stay in the same tree. You know, a lot of times if the mother is the one to leave the baby will stay in that tree the rest of their life.
Wow.
So somebody has to relocate trees, but otherwise, it's thought that the males, once they come to breed the females, that they'll go back and find the same tree that they came from.
That's cool.
Is that it? You're content now? And so she was actually trained when she was a baby that she would rotate onto this stuffy, and then she would rotate onto somebody. And so that was her routine when she was a baby, but after she got to be so big, it got to be a little bit more difficult to put that stuffy in between. You gonna open up that? Yeah. What are you thinking? Are you so
Fine.
curious? My wounded. What do you think?
So smart.
Where are you going, bud? I think he'll really like it once we start to, like I said, we're gonna rotate around, put some more limbs up to where it goes all the way
Oh, that's
around. I think
nice.
he'll really like that.
Yeah, done.
Okay.
Yeah, was it not open?
She got frustrated.
They got a really good picture of Flash. He was reached all the way down and he hand fed Flash and Zoe at the same time and got everybody
Yes.
going. It was a really good picture.
That's why I like bringing it out here.
Flash finally found his appetite once Zoe came out.
Yeah.
He's so picky sometimes.
He does not like carrots. It's great.
And you can kind of see where his hair is kind of poking out right there.
Yeah.
Right underneath that is where his ear is at. It's definitely pretty hidden back in there, but they are in there and pretty much the same size as ours relative to their bodies.
Michaela, in like 10 minutes, if you want to get some of that rice ready with the probiotic, we can feed them and then they can watch him go back into his room or go back outside when we hit 11:30.
Okay.
You guys still having fun?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
You guys want to switch for the last 10 minutes, or you can hold the whole time? I like your nails.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Our sister-in-law.
Yeah. Marco, you need to take some notes.
We can get classes.
Yeah, they have that, now they come out with a little fish, that where you put your feet in this little fish tank and those fish come out
Oh,
and like
yeah,
bite all the
yeah.
dead skin off and everything. I think this is gonna be the next thing. Stuff a few little bugs down in your sock. There you go. Yeah, she gets
Flash
5
is-
to 10 when she get her belly full.
He saw the opening and cut off.
That might be my project for the rest of the day.
Try to
When I'm
close
done
that
with
off.
videos, yes, come up with something where I can put that right there. Jeez. He's so funny, but he's like an annoying little sibling or something. You can always look after. You drive me crazy. I'm always so scared he's gonna get stuck behind the fridge.
Yeah.
Got her legs wrapped around.
And she likes to stay pretty high up, like she'll keep her arms up around your shoulder, but our baby, we call him our belly baby, because he likes to wrap his arms around right below your armpits, and he'll stay down real low, like a little Buddha belly or something.
What are you doing?
Yeah, just rotate your hand away if she starts to get nibbly, she might be getting hungry again. She may be getting a little bit sensitive at her sides too. Just the slightest little bit towards her side, she's like, what?
I'm sorry, honey.
And she'll stay upright, even like, some people think they have to support her as she's leaning back, but she'll lean back real far and she can still support herself as long as she's around her belly. So
Okay.
you don't have to hold your hand behind her back if you don't want to.
It's kind of crazy because like the natural response is to
Yeah. Especially like with a baby or something.
Yeah.
Leaning back, it's like, but they will, she might like, get kind of tighter around your
Yeah.
stomach, but she'll just hold on there and she doesn't have to have her front feet. They can actually hang all of their body weight just with one hand.
That's
back.
crazy.
I haven't seen them do it yet, but let's see if we can. Are you looking at it?
Oh.
That's what it is.
What do they do with each other?
They've not been able to interact yet, just because we don't know how they would do, and she's getting, to the age where, we wouldn't want him to, get aggressive or anything like that. But there's been times where we've had, Flash has been out here and Zoe's door has been open, and Zoe's like hanging out in her little hammock, and he'll poke his head in there and be like, what's going on in here? And she sees him, and she's like, what's that? And she'll like start to kind of go over to him. She's a lot more curious than Flash is.
Gonna come in one day and she's gonna be hanging out in here.
Yeah.
She's starting to, she knows how to open up doors.
Jeez. Don't know what you think you're gonna get from that girly. He's so cute. Okay, she jumped.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, like I said, their hearing is really sensitive. You think about losing another sense of, sight or smell or something like that. Your other senses are heightened, especially when they're younger. He's a little bit more adapt to things like that, but the babies, they jump real hard. Even just opening up this door, sometimes they'll jump.
She kinda looks like one of those baby packs when she's holding on to.
Oh, yeah. How much?
One dropper, like the full thing.
They should make like a sauce.
Has he had it before?
Mm.
Does he mind the taste of it?
No, not if it's mixed up in that rice.
Do you think that's enough for us?
Yeah.
Or-
Just a little stir fry.
Yeah.
And if one of y'all want to feed it, you can.
Okay, yeah, we can have some. Just keep it in this or put it
Yeah.
in your hand, yeah.
They can,
Just gonna-
that way, if not, it'll all pour out.
You just wanna hold it up there to him, be flash.
He'll start hanging down here in a second once he smells that. See, he's like, and then just keep rotating down, and then that way he can extend, bury his face in it. That's what he does. Come on, Flash, put some effort, bro. All right, now you can get it close, and you should be able to dig in there. He knows that it smells different. Come on, Flash.
So he's looking at you like, oh, where's my?
There he goes. You gotta eat it, bud. It's good for you.
Maybe a little bit more rice on top.
Maybe. Gotta trick the kids with their medicine.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want none of that Pepto-Bismol. It's hilarious.
What did you give them? A little probiotic, you said?
Yeah. That looks hilariously cool with him all sprawled out. Zoe, leave that doorknob alone.
Yeah, she's trying to open it.
Do you want me to take your picture while you're feeding him that?
Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you.
I sense there is medicine under this. Zoe.
Did he eat some of the medicine part?
Um,
Little, oh, no. Alright, I'm gonna put it in my hand. I know you don't want all that stuff all over your hand. Come here, Flash. Let's see. I know it stinks. Come on, you can do it. It just feels like cold oatmeal.
Yeah.
Which is not like the best feeling ever. And with that medicine in there, it's even wetter. Do you want to try it?
yeah, sure.
Alright, I'm gonna dump it in your hand. Hold on, Flash. Hold on, bro. Alright. AC/DC, you asked for it. You're going that hard, you can beat a sloth. Got Diet Cokes everywhere. I just smelled some of that and I can see why he's...
Yeah.
It does not smell the greatest.
Don't like my hand.
Well, he ate some of it though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Back to the.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
We can put the rest of it back in that bowl, it's fine. And feel free to wash your hands from that awesomeness.
Alright, girly.
Did he finally eat like a bowl of his food at least? Or?
Yeah, yeah, between the two of them, once they
Okay.
came out there, yeah, he ate a good little bit. I swear, I think it's because he got jealous.
Hey, whatever works. So what we're gonna do now, guys, is we'll let you see him going outside. I'm gonna move this stick, so then that way you can go all the way out. Taylor, can you make sure the door doesn't bump into him?
You were just curious, James.
Does Baki just normally just roam?
Pretty much. His enclosure is in here with Zoe, but once we do encounters and stuff, he just comes around everywhere. Like he was in there today, I don't know why.
Picture of
Yeah.
Hi, honey.
What are you doing? Just remember, she can't tell the difference between a finger and a sweet potato. Just rotate. Yeah.
Hey, Flash. You go outside, bro? Once he comes past the door, then I'll open it more. Come on, bud. There you go. And you can go all the way in and watch them because they'll probably go all the way outside. I'm gonna slide by you and we're gonna go all the way outside. It's really cool from over here. You coming, bud? And he usually goes up here to this top right corner. Almost every time.
There you go.
And even when it's really breezy and not quite warm enough, kind of on the edge, he'll come out for just a second. And he like puts his face up in the wind and it's swaying. And I'm always like, Flash, are you trying to recreate Titanic? You know, when you're up on the front of the boat, that's like kind of what it looks like. What do you think, Flash? You would share that door, wouldn't you? Pretty cool. So as long as it's